Warning. Contains mature contents. Right 1. A story by David Yaw Mensah. Meet 17-year-old Jayden Banson, who's trying to fit into a new city, school, and family. But there's one thing always getting him into trouble: the opposite gender. With his curly hair, irresistible dimples, and that magnetic charm, he's got the attention of both the young and the more mature crowd. Will he find his place, or will his love life keep him on a rollercoaster ride? Roller coaster. Link. Read the full story below. It was almost 5:30 a.m. when Mom woke me up, tears glistening in her eyes. I immediately sat up, my heart tightening at the sight. She rarely cried, but when she did, it meant something was deeply troubling her. Rubbing the sleep from my eyes, I reached for her hand and gently wiped away a tear with my thumb. "Mom, please, why are you crying?" I asked softly. She let out a shaky sigh. "I know today is the day you leave for Tima with your uncle, but I can't bear to see you go," she whispered, her voice laced with sorrow. "Mom, please don't cry," I pleaded, trying to keep my own emotions in check. "I know you've done everything you possibly could for me, and I'm so grateful. I'm sad too, knowing I might not see you for a long time." This was the 4th time we had this conversation just this week. Ever since I passed my BECE, my mother had been drowning in sadness, knowing she couldn't afford to send me to senior high school. My mother, a hardworking hairdresser, was a woman of striking beauty, fair-skinned, with a heart just as radiant. She was kind to everyone, yet she had enemies. People envied her, ridiculed her beauty, and scorned her even more for having a child like me, a half-caste with unruly curls that seemed to remind them of my absent father. Some claimed my father had run off to his country to escape responsibility. I never knew him, never asked about him, because I had seen how my mother cried behind closed doors whenever people mocked her. I couldn't stand to see her in pain, so I made a silent promise never to utter the word father. She had been my closest friend from the moment I was born. Unlike other mothers, she treated me as an equal, confiding in me, sharing her struggles, and even seeking my advice. I know, it sounds unusual. Why would a mother seek guidance from her child? Well, she believed children were the most brutally honest people on earth. If something was ugly, they wouldn't sugarcoat it. That's why, when she needed an honest opinion, whether about her hairstyle, her outfit, the food she cooked, or even her friends, I was the judge. Many men had sought her love, enchanted by her beauty, but she turned them all down. She refused to risk bringing a stepfather into my life, fearing he might treat me unfairly. "I know," I finally said, trying to smile. "But right now, I need you to stop crying, okay? I should get ready before Mr. Simon comes for me." Mom nodded, forcing a small smile. "All right. Go take your bath." "Okay. Ma, I love you," I whispered as I hugged her tightly. "I love you too," she whispered back, her arms lingering around me for a moment before letting go. The morning air was cold, but bathing at this hour was nothing new to me. Mom always said it helped keep my skin fresh and gave me enough time to go over my homework. Wrapping my towel around me, I grabbed my sponge and made my way quietly toward the shared bathroom in our compound house. The moment I stepped inside, I shivered slightly. Thankfully, Mom had warmed the water for me, a small act of love that I deeply appreciated. I quickly undressed, letting the warmth soothe my skin as I scrubbed away the sleepiness. Within minutes, I was done. Drying myself off, I hurried back to my room to get dressed, my heart heavy with the reality that today was the day I would leave her behind. Chapter 2. Uncle Simon arrives. As I entered the room, my mom followed closely behind, holding a neatly folded blue Lacoste shirt and a pair of black jeans. "Jay, I bought these for you when I went to the market yesterday. I hope you like them," she said, her smile warm and hopeful. I took the clothes from her hands, running my fingers over the fabric. "I love them, Mom. I think they'll fit me perfectly," I said as I quickly put them on. The moment I finished dressing, Mom beamed with pride. "Wow, they truly fit you, my handsome boy," she teased, her voice filled with affection. I chuckled shyly. "Thanks, Mom." She ruffled my hair playfully. "Now, hurry up and eat your breakfast before Mr. Simon arrives," she urged. I sat down to eat. A simple breakfast of butter bread and tea. The warmth of the tea settled my nerves, but the reality of the day weighed heavily on my heart. As I finished my last sip, Mom pulled a chair close and sat beside me. She took my hands in hers, her eyes searching mine. "Jay, I need you to listen carefully," she said, her voice gentle yet firm. "Everything I'm doing, it's for your future. I want you to be someone great one day." I nodded, swallowing the lump in my throat. I had heard these words before, but today, they carried a different weight. A few minutes later, footsteps echoed through the compound house. I turned my head and saw a man walking towards us with a composed elegance. His suit was sharply tailored, expensive, no doubt, and on his left wrist gleamed a silver watch that looked just as costly. It was Uncle Simon. I didn't know much about him, except for one thing: we weren't related by blood. Yet, whenever life backed my mother into a corner, when she had nowhere else to turn, Uncle Simon was the one she called. Mom wasn't one to borrow easily. She worked hard, endured struggles in silence, but sometimes, life was merciless. She only ever sought Uncle Simon's help when there was no other choice, when she couldn't bear to see me go to bed hungry. She quickly rose to meet him. "Good morning, Mr. Simon," she greeted politely. "Good morning, Grace," he replied with a warm smile. "How are you and your son?" "We're fine, sir," she answered. Uncle Simon let out a soft chuckle. "How many times have I told you not to call me Mr. Simon? You make me feel like an old man." Mom laughed lightly. "I'm sorry, I always forget." She gestured to a plastic chair beside her. "Please, have a seat. Let me get you some coffee." He waved off the offer with a shake of his head. "No need for that, my dear Grace. Like I mentioned over the phone, I need to report to work early today. I'll take a rain check on breakfast." "All right then," Mom said, her smile dimming just slightly. "Let me get Jay's bag so you can be on your way." She disappeared into the room, reappearing moments later with my bag in hand. As she handed it to me, she pulled me into a tight embrace and pressed a gentle kiss to my cheek. "Be good, okay," she whispered. I nodded against her shoulder, inhaling her familiar scent one last time. "Shall we?" Uncle Simon asked, glancing at his watch. Mom walked us to his car, a sleek, almost brand new Mercedes-Benz. The polished surface gleamed under the morning light. I climbed into the car, but as I turned back to look at my mother, I saw the first tears slip down her cheek. I had promised myself I wouldn't cry. I wanted to be strong for her. But seeing her tears made it impossible. I bit my lip, forcing the sobs to stay silent as my own tears fell. As the car pulled away, I watched her figure grow smaller and smaller in the distance, my heart aching with each passing second. For the first time in my life, I was leaving her behind.